that the FBI acted improperly with Michael Flynn.
This is entrapment of the highest order, a classic abuse of power.
I will be remembered in history as helping to bring this country back together.
Would anybody really hire him to teach ethics? I doubt that very much.
1 week away from the possible government shutdown. The sticking point continues to be the border wall.
I am more than okay for the president to stick to his guns. You will win. We have your back.
Since we found out that anything could happen,
Ed Henry declared this a great song, which it might be.
It's a good song.
Builds and builds. I kind of like it.
It does.
It does build. You're right, Ed.
You were dancing a little bit. Don't think I didn't see that, Ed.
Anything can happen when Jed is here.
That's
Totally
true.
true.
I heard you guys were having too much fun without me,
news,
so I'm
politics. We got all kinds of stuff.
You're the
Good
fun.
show today.
You're the fun police.
back. Yeah, there you go.
You're going to amp up the fun.
I'm going to amp it up.
Amp up the
Little
fun.
dance.
Shout out to Solange, by the way, your mom. We know
look
she's
at
watching.
That. She's
good
gonna.
job.
She wants her own show soon, so you guys better watch out.
Is she getting ready for Christmas? I mean, she must be
She
cooking.
is.
There
The
must be
lasagna.
lasagna.
The lasagna's on its way. And she keeps inviting everybody. As a typical
Let's do
Italian
it.
mom, she's like,
We gotta do
everybody
that.
come to the house. We don't. The house isn't that
This is
big.
classic Ed Henry brownie points.
There you go.
All the
Love your
way.
mom.
Trying to
Let's
be
get
the
some
favorite,
lasagna.
Wants to be
But
the
it is
favorite.
10 days until Christmas.
It is.
I'm
It's
not good
coming
at
up.
math, but it's the 15th, and Christmas is the 25th.
I've got a big surprise for Pete tomorrow. You're going to have to stick around for that. But today, a little gift. A little gift.
No,
I had a Christmas a little
But I already
early.
got a gift today, Ed.
Oh, I got
a gift last night.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, I don't know what your gift is, but this gift is
That's
my
what
gift.
I thought you meant.
That's what I meant.
Obamacare is unconstitutional. That is what a federal judge is ruling in Texas. He says the Affordable Care Act is invalid as open enrollment closes today. What's fascinating about this is that the judge is saying that the whole law, the entire Affordable Care Act, should in fact be torn down because the individual mandate demanding that you buy health insurance is unconstitutional. Quickly, here's what he said.
Yeah.
The district judge, Reed O'Connor, the individual mandate can no longer be fairly read as an exercise of Congress's tax power and is still impermissible under the Interstate Commerce Clause, meaning the individual mandate is unconstitutional. Without it, Congress and the Supreme Court have stated the architectural design fails.
About time. I mean, we've been having this debate for so long. I was so happy to see this. This was completely unconstitutional from the start. And it does put a little bit of pressure, I think, on Republicans now, because Democrats have always said, listen, if you're going to criticize the Affordable Care Act, which wound up not being so affordable for everyone, you're going to have to come in with a replacement. So this puts a little pressure on them. And I think it's good. I think they should have to step up to the plate, provide some pro-free market alternatives, and put out there what it looks like to not rely on government for your health care.
So this surprised me completely. I mean, because I felt like the tax, forcing people to buy a product was unconstitutional to begin with.
Right.
That's what they repealed in the individual mandate. I mean, listen, we stood on a bridge in Lexington, Concord in 1775 because of a stamp tax. I shouldn't be told that I have to buy health care, right? Fine. But this judgment from a Texas judge says, that's been repealed. Now the whole law is not valid because the whole law was based on this tax which forced people to buy it.
Yep.
I didn't see it coming. I don't know. Maybe the President of the United States saw it coming as well. But he tweeted last night. He said, as I predicted all along, so Ed, he did see it coming, Obamacare has been struck down as an unconstitutional disaster. Now Congress must pass a strong law that provides great health care and protects pre-existing conditions. Mitch and Nancy get it done. The question is, Ed, Mitch and Nancy.
Well, there you go. It's not Chuck and Nancy. And I think that Jed makes a great point, which is that, Republicans have said, let's tear this law down. They've been trying to do this since it was passed, right? So now they have some responsibility to govern. You have a Republican president. You're going to have a Republican Senate with a bigger majority in 2019. But, as the president points out, the Democrats have a responsibility to govern. They campaigned on health care. They said, and let's find out what they want, because as you know, it's not about saving Obamacare. A lot of Democrats, like your favorite socialist in the Bronx, Bernie Sanders, others, they want Medicare for all, which they did
from the
afford.
beginning, frankly. This was about Medicare for all from the very beginning.
I think you're right.
They wanted Obamacare. They knew it was going to have problems. They knew people were going to object, but the hope was that they were going to bring in Medicare for all. And the problem was that when you start doing this government-run health care, people instinctively say, why is the government running this for me? Why is the government managing my personal decisions, what doctors I can go to? And let's not forget that this thing was pushed through with a bunch of lies. They were told they could keep their doctor. They were told their costs were going to go down. So people are finally looking at this. Now, that's not to say Republicans won't have to step up to the plate, like I said, because there are a lot of people that are still struggling with their health care costs and want someone to come in and say, look, how do we promote? You talk about free market all the time. What does that look like?
I'll be honest, it's not clear what Republicans are going to step up with. So Democrats have this very easy, terrible idea of Medicare for all. It's easy to sell, easy to talk about. If you talk about transparency and costs, choice, free market, that's harder to sell. Where this goes from here, I don't know.
Yeah,
but we've had so many bad judgments from the Ninth Circuit and other things overtaking what the president has done. You know, here's one ruling that seems to go in the direction of freedom.
So we're talking about it this morning. We expect you're talking about it, friends at FoxNews.com. What should come next? This doesn't immediately affect your coverage. This is likely to go to the Supreme Court. The battle will continue, but this is a major development, and it comes.
No, that's right. Open enrollment still going on.
Right.
Yep.
That possibility of a partial government shutdown is out there, and now the president making a major personnel decision as well.
That's right. President Trump taps White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney as his new acting chief of staff.
Garrett Tenney is live in our nation's capital with the details. Garrett?
Hey, good morning, y'all. Like a lot of hirings and firings, President Trump made this announcement Friday evening on Twitter, writing, Mick has done an outstanding job while in the administration. I look forward to working with him in this new capacity as we continue to make America great again. A senior administration official cited Mulvaney's experience as a former member of Congress and said the president picked him because they get along. For his part, Mulvaney tweeted, "This is a tremendous honor. I look forward to working with the president and the entire team. It's going to be a great 2019. Now, there is no timeline for how long Mulvaney will serve in this acting capacity, but a senior administration official said the president didn't want to put him in that role permanently, at least not yet. Last night, President Trump also pushed back on the notion that he was struggling to fill what used to be one of the most highly coveted jobs in Washington, tweeting, "For the record, there were many people who wanted to be the White House chief of staff. Mick M will do a great job." Now, earlier this week, you'll remember the president said he wanted someone who thinks like him as his chief of staff, and with a possible government shutdown looming, the president certainly has that in Mulvaney, who pushed for his fair share of them, as he was one of the founders of the Freedom Caucus.
Yeah.
Back to y'all.
Garrett Tenney,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate
Thank
that
you so
report.
much.
That's that point. He's one of the founders of the Freedom Caucus. This is a movement conservative, a true believer. The only thing he's been an outlier on with this White House is on defense spending. He's wanted to cut that budget. A lot of president supporters think it should be bigger. Interesting pick. We'll see.
I like him. He's a budget hawk, and he's not afraid of a shutdown. As we know that the left always throws out these talking points about how the government shutdown is the end of the world. Government shutdown actually means that a lot of the government still stays open, and at some point you have to draw the line and say, you know what, the debt is out of control. It's a national security threat to have your debt that much out of control. So good for him, and I hope he sticks to it.
So big stories we'll be talking about all morning. We also want to talk about something big that's coming Tuesday, pardon me, which is going to be the sentencing of General Michael Flynn. The question now is, did he lie to the FBI or not?
Yeah, that's what the new documents show. The FBI agents didn't think that he did. I mean, in the interview, again, and there's questions about that interview itself. Should he have had a lawyer? What should he have been notified about? But ultimately, the FBI agents, this is what we're getting this morning from Exhibit B of the FBI. They're saying, this is from the FBI, Strzok and redacted, person we don't know, both had the impression that at the time that Flynn was not lying or did not think he was lying, Flynn struck Strzok as bright. Let's get this. But not profoundly sophisticated.
But it could have been a setup. The FBI did not basically tell him the consequences of lying.
No, they didn't. They bum rushed him.
Hey, we're just coming over. We just want to kind of talk. And they didn't make clear it was part of this full-blown investigation. And so why was Andrew McCabe, number 2 at the FBI, looking like he was maybe setting them up?
In fairness, though, I mean, some will argue, do you have to be told the consequences of lying to the FBI?
He should have told the
that's
truth.
something that you should kind of know. All of us sitting here, if we got asked questions by the FBI, we would all know going in, you don't lie to the FBI. So he will be held accountable.
This is a court filing, and Mueller's team, Bob Mueller, the special counsel, his team is saying that regardless of what happened with the FBI, quote, a sitting national security advisor, former head of an intelligence agency, retired lieutenant general, and 33-year vet of the armed forces knows he should not lie to federal agents. He does not need to be warned. It is a crime to lie to federal agents to know the importance of telling them the truth.
So Michael Flynn gets no lawyers, but Hillary Clinton gets like 15 in her interview.
Including lawyers who were witnesses in the case.
Who were witnesses in the case.
Right.
It's a complete and absolute double standard. I also look at what Strzok said. Flynn is bright, but not profoundly sophisticated. Do you read the Strzok page texts?
Right.
They read like Gossip Girl. That's what a sophisticated. Peter Strzok is so
towards Trump officials, Trump voters. They talked about how people at Walmart smelled.
Not sophisticated.
It was ridiculous.
It's also a very
It's so
bizarre personal
ridiculous.
attack to be making. It's just a bizarre thing to say at all, frankly.
You mean he's straightforward? He served his country. He believes in something. He's not some foo-foo elite like you and thinks he's saving the country by entrapping people like him.
Tell us how you really feel about him.
I will. Sebastian Gorka will say what I want to say. Listen.
The fact that he misremembered the content or one specific element of a phone conversation, if that's a crime, then every single person watching this show could commit a felony when they forget what they said to somebody. So this is entrapment of the highest order, and the fact that they had the transcript tells you everything that you need to know. Also, the two agents who did that interview said that they didn't think he was lying, and then the 302s disappear for 8 months.
Yeah,
this is a classic abuse of power.
So, big question whether this, what appears to be FBI misconduct, will lead Judge Sullivan, who has been highly critical in this case about how the government has operated. Will he throw out the charges against General Flynn, or will he keep the charges but basically have leniency and not give him any jail time? We're going to see on Tuesday. Big story. We're talking about it. What do you think about how the FBI handled General Flynn's case? That part of the special counsel probe. Friends at FoxNews.com.
Yeah, well, let us know. We have to turn now to your headlines. Police are urging the fiance of the missing woman, Patrick Frazee, is the last person to see Kelsey Burrith after she dropped their daughter off to him before vanishing. Authorities are calling the disappearance suspicious as they are searching Frazee's Colorado property for any clues. She was last seen on a surveillance camera walking into a grocery store with their daughter on Thanksgiving Day. A decorated Afghan war veteran is charged with murder after he committed on TV to killing a suspected Taliban bomb maker.
Did you kill the Taliban bomb maker?
Yes.
That's Major Matthew Goldstein speaking with Fox News' Brett Baer back in 2016. The former Green Beret was talking about a situation in 2010 when 2 Marines in his unit were killed by hidden explosives. His team tracked down and killed the suspect, but he was not on a list of targets U.S. forces were cleared to kill. Goldstein could face the death penalty. Johnson & Johnson stock takes a $23 billion plunge after a damaging report goes public. A Reuters story claims the company knew its baby powder contained asbestos for decades. Wow. The embattled business has faced thousands of lawsuits alleging the baby powder causes cancer. Johnson & Johnson calls the report an absurd conspiracy theory. Wow. And those are your headlines.
Hear a lot more about that.
Yeah, we will. Well, the battle over President Trump's border wall is heating up in Washington, D.C. Our next guest is a former Israeli special ops member who's seen firsthand that walls do work. He explains.
That's the fact. We've seen that in Yuma. We've seen that in San Diego, El Paso, Nogales. Where we have wall, that illegal flow has dropped somewhere between 90 to 95%. That is substantial.
Well, our next guest agrees that walls work. A former member of Israel's Special Operations Counter-Terrorist Unit says a border wall slashed illegal immigration and terrorism in Israel to virtually zero. Aaron Cohen joins us now to explain. Aaron, you saw that debate in the Oval Office. Chuck Schumer saying walls don't work, they're not needed. You've been on the ground in Israel. Talk to us about, well, do walls work?
Well, that is substantial.
Well, our next guest agrees that walls work. A former member of Israel's Special Operations Counter-Terrorist Unit says a border wall slashed illegal immigration and terrorism in Israel to virtually zero. Aaron Cohen joins us now to explain. Aaron, you saw that debate in the Oval Office. Chuck Schumer saying walls don't work, they're not needed. You've been on the ground in Israel. Talk to us about, well, do walls work?
That is substantial.
Well, our next guest agrees that walls work. A former member of Israel's Special Operations Counter-Terrorist Unit says a border wall slashed illegal immigration and terrorism in Israel to virtually zero. Aaron Cohen joins us now to explain. Aaron, you saw that debate in the Oval Office. Chuck Schumer saying walls don't work, they're not needed. You've been on the ground in Israel. Talk to us about, well, do walls work?
Well, that is substantial.
Well, our next guest agrees that walls work. A former member of Israel's Special Operations Counter-Terrorist Unit says a border wall slashed illegal immigration and terrorism in Israel to virtually zero. Aaron Cohen joins us now to explain. Aaron, you saw that debate in the Oval Office. Chuck Schumer saying walls don't work, they're not needed. You've been on the ground in Israel. Talk to us about, well, do walls work?
Legally continued to fester. The difference between these, what happened in Israel, ultimately after we saw that the wall was extremely effective against terrorism, by around 2008, 2009, Israel faced a very aggressive index of illegal population from various Saharan and African countries. And so Israel went, why aren't we doing the same thing with the Egyptian border? And so, which was where it was extremely porous. And so Israel extended the wall over onto the Egyptian side, on the Egyptian Gaza side. And we went from 50,000 illegal West African immigrants who were spiking the crime in Tel Aviv to less than a dozen illegal immigrants today. So
55,000 to less than a dozen. That strikes me as something that works. Aaron Cohen, you know of what you speak. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Guys, thank you so much.
You got it. Well, President Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, speaking out after being sentenced to prison time. But do voters believe him? The brand new Dials coming up next.
One of the hopes that I have out of the punishment that I...
This is a live look in Paris. Guess what? The protests are heating up for a fifth weekend. Nearly 8,000 officers, 14 armored vehicles patrolling city streets. Protesters angry over low wages and tax inequality. France is now investigating, though, whether Russia, yes, Russia, is urging the Yellow Jacket movement online after reports linking the Kremlin to social media accounts promoting unrest in Paris. We're going to hear about this one. And Australia is now formally recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Sort of. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison says he won't move its embassy out of Tel Aviv until there's a peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians.
So, bold move or not. All right, well, former Trump attorney Michael Cohen defending his credibility in his first interview since being sentenced to 3 years in prison for crimes including lying to Congress. So do the voters actually believe him?
Here to bring us the Dials, president and partner at Maslansky & Partners, Lee Carter.
Great to be here. Thanks so much.
All right, so what do you have for us today?
Well, Cohen did an interview, and I think it's just let's hear from him, and we'll see how the voters react.
He was trying to hide what you were doing, correct?
Correct.
And he knew it was wrong?
Of course.
And he was doing that to help his election?
You have to remember at what point in time that this matter came about, 2 weeks or so before the election, post the Billy Bush comments. So yes, he was very concerned about how this would affect the election.
You can see there, nobody really liked what he was having to say, but you could see independents, Republican, that yellow and red line, neither one of them are really finding him all that credible. Democrats gave him a B overall. They said, look, I believe what he's saying. Nobody really likes this guy, but it's having an impact on the Democrats, not as much, though, on the independents and Republicans.
Well, you know who likes Michael Cohen? Michael Cohen. And this is what he had to say. Listen.
He doesn't understand the system. And it's sad because the country has never been more divisive. And one of the hopes that I have out of the punishment that I've received, as well as the cooperation that I have given, I will be remembered in history as helping to bring this country back together.
Remembered in history.
He will be remembered in history. And you can see there the independents and independents and Republicans really took a dip there when he said, I will be remembered in history. Like, don't give yourself any credit for what you did here. You did some terrible things, and now you're coming forward and admitting it.
So they both give him an F.
They both gave him an F.
And Democrats managed to give him a B. I would think it would be lower for that.
But you know what? He didn't change anybody's mind in what he did. Yeah. Democrats were already likely to believe what he had to say. They're glad that he came forward, and they think this is all going to be a free-for-all. Independents and Republicans not so sure this is going to make any difference at all.
But the president would potentially be more worried if independents were saying, this guy's kind of credible, but independents are giving him an F on both of those answers. Interesting. Let's hear from the president and what voters are thinking about how he's reacting to this. Watch.
He is a lawyer. He represents a client. I never directed him to do anything incorrect or wrong. And he understands that. Look, he did some bad things unrelated to me, maybe related to his other clients. I wasn't his only client. He had other clients. He did some bad things. And income tax evasion, I heard about taxi cab, I heard about a lot of things. Now, I'm not reading about any of that stuff, because what he did is he made a deal to embarrass me.
So what do they think about taxi cab confessions?
So you can see the Republicans gave him a B. They're pretty much buying what Trump's got to say. Mostly. Independents not sure what to buy. I think this is sinking in a little bit with them, and they're not really buying what Trump has to say. Democrats are saying, you know what? I think you did it.
Independents give him a C, whereas they're giving Michael Cohen an F. So that's
right.
kind of interesting.
Interesting how many times Republicans and independents fell in line.
They really
throughout.
They really do, and for the most part, during the 2016 cycle, that's how it went. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of split in recent times, and now you're seeing it on this particular issue. I think Republicans and independents are in line.
Do you feel like there's been time and time again we've been told this will hurt the president, his approval? Do you see this with independents?
I think a little bit, but it's not going to be this crisis that everybody's talking about at this point. I mean, if we were going to see some more things happening, perhaps, but I really don't see a whole lot of movement in people's opinions. I think people are pretty much decided. I think the president's guilty. I think the president's innocent, and I'm going to support him through it.
Most importantly, have you done any dials on the karaoke that Pete and I did a couple days ago? The voters win.
Come later in the show. We'll have it ready.
Viewers are going to be able to
I'm
weigh
looking
in
forward to
in a moment.
that.
Don't dial it. Don't dial it. Lee, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
All right, well, Mike Pence's faith being targeted by the left again. This time, an incoming Democratic congresswoman, one of the first Somali Muslim congresswomen, mocking the VP, the backlash she's now facing this morning.
And Christmas is getting closer, so Bass Pro Shops and
Oh, there we go. We had a big Fox and Friends party this week, getting ready for Christmas. You can see some of our wonderful producers and Pete, one of our great anchors, right there.
Thanks for using great. That's a little bit of a hyperbole. We had a good time, though. We know how to do a Christmas party.
It was fun.
Jedediah was there, but she left a little early.
I was there. Yeah, I had to take my mom to an appointment, but it was good times.
Did you miss
I missed it.
You missed the key part.
I did.
Of the entire party, so we wanted you to see
I'm ready
it.
now. Oh boy.
We
Wow.
were working for the weekend.
We did. I mean, we decided we got to do a duet. Why
Wait,
not?
Hang on a second. Can you please present it?
How did it
truthfully to
actually
the American-
happen, Ed?
Well, how it happened was we didn't do anything. Pete decided, picked the song, texted it to me and said, we're singing this. I'm like, maybe. I arrive in New York from D.C. a couple days ago. Literally 2 or 3 very senior people say, I heard you and Pete are doing a song. I'm like, how many people has he told?
Listen, I think
It's
you
true.
guys.
I announced it on
He
the air.
made it a reality.
I'm like, I think Ed and I, we have to do it. And he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, you got to get up on stage with me.
When are you guys
So-
taking it on the road? I could be a backup dancer. I think this is going to be something
You know,
good.
there's a reason why they looped 5 seconds of the song over and over and over again.
Because you didn't have the backup
We
dancer.
could do a live
We
reenactment.
didn't have a lot.
On the show.
We could.
Here,
We could.
Ed, what do you think?
We might, maybe later in the show. That sounds like a no. See, I was hesitating.
We
Probably
tried.
not happening. It was a good time, though. We have an awesome
Great time.
team here at Fox and Friends, and it was a ton of fun.
It really was, and we've got a great team.
Could we
here.
talk about Santa Claus, though?
Oh, yeah, let's-
Because now
Yeah.
people are saying that Santa Claus should be modernized. 23% say that Santa should have an iPhone. 20% he should have tattoos. 21% should go on a diet.
No, he's fat.
17% should be gender neutral. 11% he should be a woman, and 70% should remain a man. So what do you guys think?
Well,
I
this-
kind of like my Santa old school.
Just the way he is. Yeah, this is a survey. People answered questions, and they said those insane things. Yes, I mean, why are we changing Santa?
I already think he's modern because, the beard is very in right now. So I feel like Santa's gone trendy.
He was ahead of the curve.
He was ahead of the curve. There
it's
you
now
go.
kind of retro, and it's like Santa was cool way back when, and it's true. Like Santa gets better and better. It's
First of
just
all,
sort of like,
he's stocky. He's not fat. How do
He's
you
big
know that he
boned.
doesn't have tattoos? He wears the big suit. He might have tattoos. You don't
point.
know. Why would Santa ever go on a diet?
No.
Santa can fly around the world in 24 hours and deliver gifts to everyone.
Cookies.
He
He's
doesn't
supposed to
eat the
Exactly.
cookies.
How's he going to eat the cookies?
What are you going to do? Milk and cookies? What are you going to eat?
Could
Vegan
be
cookies?
gluten-free cookies, maybe.
We could leave a kale salad.
You could leave a kale salad that Santa
like
would
those.
promptly
I
smack
do.
over and say, where are my cookies?
So what do you think? Should we
Yeah, we wanna hear
modernize
from
Santa?
you.
Should we stop leaving him chocolate chip cookies so he goes on a diet? Should we leave him a kale salad? We want to get your reaction. I feel like we're going to get some fun.
And if
response.
Santa got a tattoo, he might want to have one already. What would it look like?
What would
it might say
be?
"We the People."
It would be
It
a
might.
tattoo of Pete, obviously.
Well, preferably. if he's listing his naughty list on his back.
And do you want us to sing later in the show? I don't know, but I don't know if I want to put it out there. We're friends at Fox News.
Backup dancer. All right. We are turning now to your headlines. Homeland Security's Inspector General is now investigating the death of a 7-year-old migrant girl who died after being taken into custody. Officials say the Guatemalan girl had not eaten or drank anything for several days while crossing illegally into the U.S. with her father.
I want to make it very clear that as agents, we are sick and tired of being blamed for these types of tragedies. The people that should be blamed for these types of tragedies are the drug cartels that are orchestrating these smuggling events.
The child was flown to a children's hospital in El Paso, Texas, where she later died from dehydration and shock. Take a look at this. Federal investigators are looking into what slammed into a commercial plane in mid-air. The nose of an Air Mexico jet significantly damaged in a possible drone collision before landing in Tijuana. No one was injured, and the plane was able to land normally. This could turn out to be the first time a drone hit a large jetliner ever. A Democrat is under fire after mocking the vice president's Christian faith online. Congresswoman-elect Ilhan Omar tweeting this photo of Vice President Pence saying, quote, "Jesus take the wheel, #border wall." The picture coming from a meeting earlier this week between President Trump and Democratic leaders over the border wall funding. No one wants to share the big stage with Maroon 5, it seems. The band is having trouble finding guest stars for the Super Bowl halftime show in Atlanta, according to Variety. Artists like Rihanna and Pink reportedly don't want to be associated with the NFL over the league's anthem controversy. The NFL has not yet announced Maroon 5 as the official act. And those are your headlines.
Thanks, Jed.
Thank you. All right, well, the countdown to Christmas has begun, and Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's has deals you don't want to miss.
Plus, there is still time to head to one of their stores to actually meet Santa. And Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, Alan Treadwell, our old friend, is here with the hottest last-minute deals. Everybody is trying to shop. Everyone is trying to figure this out. You can do a little bit online, but you can also bricks and mortar still alive and well, especially Bass Pro Shops. So what can people get?
That's right. Well, you know, at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we believe in the power of Christmas. And, you know, taking it back to that simpler time when families celebrated the holidays together. And that's exactly what Santa's Wonderland is all about, those traditional family Christmases where you can go there and get your free photo with Santa at any Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's across the country. You know, and I'm a brand new dad. I have a little 8-month-old daughter, and I was able to take
We've
her.
got a picture. She's right there.
Take her to Santa's
she's
Wonderland.
beautiful. What's her name?
Her name's Bremy.
Bremy, beautiful name.
Yep, and she got to meet the big guy herself. So that's what it's all about, making those memories, you know.
I
And then
paid $20 for a Santa photo.
they're free at Bass Pro and Cabela's. That's right.
I love it.
What do you got for us today?
So we have
This
all
is
kinds of
great.
awesome gifts.
so warm, too.
We do, yeah, and that's a lot of this stuff is warm. It's cold outside. These are Natural Reflections and Redhead house slippers. They're up to 33% off right now.
Wow.
Going on down the line, we have these Redhead Sherpa fleece line jackets. This is great for outside working, playing, whatever you want to do. They're
Super
awesome.
warm, and guys, they're so soft on the inside.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we were looking at these pants a little bit earlier. They're fleece and flannel line. You talk about something great for the wintertime.
Wow.
Less
best
than
pants ever.
less than $20
So Jen
right
said
now.
she likes to actually
Less than
buy.
$20.
Yeah.
You like to buy men's clothes.
I buy men's clothes a lot because they're more comfortable, and I just wear them big. Honest, I really do.
You know,
I do.
there you go.
I don't know about the pants, but the flannels for sure.
That's cool.
Wow, they're
These are
sweatpants
great.
on the inside, jeans on the outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wish
They're
they
wonderful.
made those in women's.
Saying.
Talk about this gear bag. 'Cause
Yeah,
this
what's
is kind
that?
of cool.
Yeah, so this is the Cabela's gear bag. It is $12.99. I mean, you talk about the perfect gift for somebody you don't know what to get for. They can put anything in it, whether they're going fishing, hunting, just
Or you
using it
could
around.
throw your iPad in and you do some tech stuff. if you're
Absolutely,
just, you know,
absolutely
family stuff.
could.
That's
You
great.
absolutely could. And if you don't know what to get them, our gift cards are always a great idea. And our gift cards have been rated #1 by Scripps for over 10 years. That's because they never expire. You
Now-
can use them online, in our stores, at our restaurants, Big Cedar or Big Cypress Lodges.
You guys are giving away a truck.
We are. That's something we're very excited about. What a better Christmas gift than a brand new truck. We're giving away a Toyota Tacoma TRD. These trucks are absolutely awesome. They're luxurious, rough, anything that you can throw at them. And actually, this truck has been the best-selling truck in its class for over a decade.
So you go to BassProShops.com.
Yep, you can register
up.
online, or you can register in our stores across the country. Yep.
You guys got to make these in women's for me. I'm excited.
Alan
Maybe
Treadwell,
they will.
thanks so much. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you, sir.
Merry
Appreciate
Christmas.
it. Good stuff.
All right. Got a whole lot more coming up. From prison to politician, the big announcement from the former Trump campaign aide, George Papadopoulos. You won't believe it.
Plus, they've both been floated as possible 2020.
That the FBI acted improperly with Michael Flynn.
This is entrapment of the highest order, a classic abuse of power.
I will be remembered in history as helping to bring this country back together.
Would anybody really hire him to teach ethics? I doubt that very much.
1 week away from the possible government shutdown. The sticking point continues to be the border wall.
I am more than okay for the president to stick to his guns. You will win. We have your back.
Don't think I didn't see that, Ed.
Anything can happen when Jed is here.
That's
Totally
true.
true.
I heard you guys were having too much fun without me,
News,
so I'm
politics,
back.
we got all kinds of stuff.